Yes.
I'm not sure whether there's any public servants of rank in Kenya who would actually resign on account of running late.
As a matter of fact, earlier at the beginning of the reign of Kenya Kwanza, there was a cabinet meeting, and about a third of the CSs were late, and they were locked out of State House because of that. But we didn't see any resignation,
including I recall one of the persons who ran late was the then Minister Cabinet Secretary for Interior, who today is the Deputy President. Now, when you're talking about this character, we need to go back and ask ourselves, how come, as Kenyans, you know very well that outside capacity and competence, that this person is of dubious character. That even when you're having a drink with them, say, in a restaurant, that you cannot leave them with your drink. You can't even leave them with your mobile phone. Yeah, because you are suspecting mischief.
Yes.
But you wake up on a rainy Monday morning, on the 8th of August, and you go cast a ballot in their favor. Then you go back home expecting miracles.
Are you saying the Kenyans are to blame for this, for the situation that we find ourselves in?
Absolutely. Because again, political scientists say that the leadership is a reflection of the society, that these are the people we want to trust with our future. So when you've been warned times above number that this particular politician, and you've socialized with their track record, that when he was the chairman of the cattle dip, the chemicals used to disappear. When he was the chairman of CDF, he was the sole supplier. Mm-hmm. Now he wants to become an MP, Senate or National Assembly, and you go and vote for them. Why? Simply because they've given you a bag of maize or beans, and then you expect spectacular outcomes. And we compare ourselves with the countries like South Korea, mm-hmm. and Singapore. Mm-hmm. Why can't we look at the profile of the leadership of these countries like South Korea, mm-hmm. and Singapore, and say that those are the people we want? If you look at the cabinet of Singapore, you look at the academic qualifications, you look at the competence, mm-hmm. and you look at the character, mm-hmm. your jaws will drop to the ground. It's in that country that you make a mistake, like in Japan. Mm-hmm. You make a mistake as a political leader, probability of you committing suicide is very high because you'll be treated like somebody who has leprosy. Nobody will want to touch you in the society. Mm-hmm. But what is the obtaining situation in Kenya? A man, say in his mid-20s, he engages in wash or corruption, but when he goes back to the village and he's attending Saturday service or a Sunday mass,
yes.
he's given the seat in the middle of the church next to the pastor or priest, and the pastor or priest with alacrity will say that the good Lord is working favors. Now our son has gone to Nairobi, he's come back with resources, and they will quickly assist people put up a church, and then it's going to be rewarded. So okay. we must be very careful with this thing, because if we don't sort out this thing of character, then we'll be running in small circles.
Okay, so speaking of this, I want us to look at, there's a question that would emerge when you compare what happened last year and what's happening right now. And it's a question of lessons. Human beings are described as fundamentally pattern-seeking creatures. We learn by patterns. 1 + 1 = 2. Remember when you're in primary school, that's how you learned the times table. You recite it and then you internalize it. You find the pattern and then you're able to replicate. So let's look at some of these patterns. What happened last year and what happened now?